Join us, very exciting video today. We're going to pollinate our first pumpkin on Father's Day, June 18th, and we're going to pollinate it with an orange beauty. Stay tuned and see. We're pollinating a 2,560 pound pumpkin with another giant monster. Join us to see what that monster is. And we also have some vine pruning tips. We have some just basic gardening tips that you might find very helpful with pollinating and pruning your giant pumpkins. Please join us. Here comes Jackson. We were hoping for a pollination today, but I guess that ain't gonna happen. He's got baseball practice. So come on out. You're okay in the shoes because I got to till out here anyways. This has got to be tilled one last time ahead of the plant. Here's the pumpkin, Jackson. Want you see the pumpkin? Take a look at it. You see there's no yellow puffiness on the flower. When the flower, this flower should have yellow puffiness. It should be yellow in color out here. And we don't have that going on. This is 11 days old. So I hear some funny things are going on. Travis Ginger said they're acting funny this year. But we're having cool nights in the north. Now don't walk out there, buddy. You ain't got the shoes on. Get back over here. So I guess I'm gonna have to come back and pollinate this on the 12th day, Sunday the 18th. Time is burning, baby. Time is burning. Our secondaries, look at that. We're out here. I'm gonna have to move those pot crates, move that walk board another foot or two. I'm actually gonna let those cobras run into the wall and cut them off at the ground point. I learned that from Ron Wallace years ago. You don't want to terminate these vines out here at the tuffle. You want to let that vine grow into the wall and then cut it back at where it's touching the ground. Throw that extra 3 or 4 leaves away. You want to cut it so that you can bury that last vine. You don't want it cutting off a cobra and trying to bury the cobra. All right, Jack, so you got baseball, and then tomorrow you have to go you're going to your father's today. So I'm gonna pollinate for you in the morning. All right, I wanted you to be here, but hey, it can't happen. It's your dad's 17th, and I'm at Dan Fleecer's, and he's gonna donate some male studs. He's got some stud flowers. You can always tell one thing.
There's a yellow one.
One thing I haven't seen people tell in the videos is this. You can tell which one's gonna open because they go down the row. They go down the row one day to the next,
and
right?
They're also yellow. When they go to open.
When they go yellow, like that?
Yep.
There's yellow, old yellow. That one's gonna open tomorrow. That one right there will open tomorrow. I can tell by looking at it, but if you follow them down the line, typically the next one down the line, if that one opened today, then the next one down the line is gonna open the next day, typically. I'm sure there's exceptions to that rule.
Yeah.
Right, Dan?
Yep, they usually in line and
the next one, the next one, then the next one, then the next one. You can follow the line down.
I usually like to get the ones off the main vine. They're usually your bigger flowers, you know. They're big usually on the main vine.
So this is a 1935 Ford?
Yep.
I like that. My grandmother was a Ford. While we take a little break, let me show you Jack just caught his own personal best. I'm estimating his largemouth bass at 8 pounds. We wanted to let her go. We don't want to hurt the eggs in her. We didn't want to keep her out of the water any longer than we had to. But I know I just caught a 22.5-inch bass, and Jack's bass dwarfed the first one. So check this out. Check out this little clip. You're gonna love it. Check out our Jack and Bubba's fish clips, one of our playlists. You gotta keep on. Don't let him break it. You got another big one.
Oh gosh, I thought it was a pike.
You got a big one. You got a big one. It's as big as the one I had. My God, is it the same one? There must be a pair of them. Look at that. Look at that, Jack. Can you get it? Pick it up. Get it by the bow. Pick him up by the upper lip. You got it, Jack? Oh my goodness, Jack. Jackson. That's bigger. That's bigger than that one I just got. Look at that.
Look at the belly.
Look at that, Jack. Oh my goodness. Wow. Jackson, it's full of eggs. She's got eggs. We got to let her go. Look at that.
Oh,
look at that.
Dude.
That's a monster.
I saw her bite it. I literally saw her bite it. She came up and I saw it, and I thought it was a pike for a second.
Jackson, look at the size of that bass.
Big.
That's probably 8 pounds.
This
got to
my
be
best. This is
that's got to be 8
Be
pounds.
singing
I'm just a gigolo, and everywhere I go. This is a 2554 Andrews. All right. Here's the male flowers. This is the plant. Beautiful plant. Beautiful garden, Dan. Looking good. Like I knew that it pulled from Danny's garden. The 2493 Wolf, I have 4 flowers. The 1935 Ford, and yes, my grandmother was a Ford, and I was born in a Chevy. No, true, my grandma was a Ford, but I wasn't born in a Chevy. But here you go. The 2554 Andrews. So this is still your 1885 genetics, but I just don't want to self this plant again. Some of my leaves are a little bit funny. They're coming out kind of odd and funny. I think it's time to breed this back. Breed it not necessarily back, just out a little differently. So I'm going to have to decide between tonight and tomorrow morning. We'll see how they open up. Probably the Ford. I have to look back and see what the genetics are on the Ford. I'll go to bigpumpkins.com. Buds are riding shotgun, baby. They're riding shotgun in the Honda. Gentle, gentle. Those are my male studs. It is 7:35 a.m. The boys are back in town. They're waiting. They spent the night in the basement in the dark. I had the corner of the bag dipped in water. So they have water. But they spent the night in the cool dark. I did not want them opening in the night. There was no need for that. I'm sure it might be okay to do it that way, but that's not how I did it. This is how I'm doing it. I haven't done this too many times. I think once before. There ain't a cucumber beetle, fly, anything in sight. So I'm going to go uncover the female pumpkin. There she is. All right. There's your secondary. That's going to grow out to the right, and I'm going to pitchfork that. Bringing the pitchfork would be the tertiaries that come off this secondary. Will actually create a pitchfork type vine pattern, and we will grow those tertiaries out and bring it back to the fruit. The energy back to the fruit is the theory. I don't know how critical that really matters. The whole thing is to keep growing fresh plant to replace the old leaves. As these leaves here will be exhausted by the 1st of August, they'll be toast. And I need to replace those leaves and keep everything vibrant and growing. All right, it's pollination time. All right, here's a male flower. I went ahead and stripped the petal off, and it is like 70 degrees out. The sun is up, 70 degrees. Now, the flower's not fully open, but I'm gonna go ahead to make sure I don't miss the window. I'm gonna go ahead and put the pollen in there now. All right, put the pollen in there. I don't use a paintbrush. If you do use a paintbrush, please tell me, what do you prefer? China bristle, nylon bristle? Which is your best brush? But I just use the pollen itself. For every grain of pollen, you will create a viable giant pumpkin seed. So I like to use lots of flowers. What I'll do is I'll put this in there, and I'm gonna wait a few more minutes, and I'll come back and we'll do it again. All right, and again and again. All right, keeping it natural, using the paint strainer. That's my favorite, my go-to. Of course, I do a lot of painting, so I always have one laying around. All right, here's another. We're gonna go back with a second male pistil. All right, 4 lober. Here we go. It is like 73 degrees out. I'm sure the plant hasn't warmed up to that yet, but it's getting close. So we're not taking any chances. We're gonna keep repollinating with additional flowers. And the window, I'm told, quickly closes at around 75 degrees, probably by 78, 80 degrees, it's completely closed. I wouldn't recommend trying to pollinate after that temperature. It is a temperature thing. Just like turtles. Turtles come up and lay their eggs in the garden every year. And the snapping turtles, it's a temperature thing. It's always a temperature thing. Bass laying their eggs in the lakes, it's a temperature thing, a water temperature thing. So I believe that thoroughly. It's scientific, very scientific. Research it, tell me if I'm wrong. And we have another 2493 Wolf, big, beautiful orange pumpkin. So these seeds, now this does not affect this pumpkin's growth like Chris Brown at Garden Giants would tell you. It does not affect this year's pumpkin, but the seeds that are in it that we can grow next year are affected by our pollinator. And that's the 2493 Wolf, big, beautiful orange, gorgeous pumpkin, heavy pumpkin. We're putting that back into the Maverick. It ought to be an awesome, awesome combo. get your seeds at worldwidegiantgrowers.com. Thanks for viewing. If you have any questions or comments, please post them below, and I'll try to answer the questions. I try to keep up with that. Best if you can't ask a question, open a Google email account, and then you can ask a question. But hey, thanks for joining us. And we're hoping, and I'm a dreamer. Bubba's a dreamer. Call me crazy. Most people do. But we're hoping for a big enough pumpkin to take to California, a road trip. We get something over 2,000 pounds. We're headed to California. All right, so join us for the rest of the season. Hey, my soil's got a pH of 7. My water's got a pH of 7.1. There's boron in my water. There's a trace of boron. I got calcium in the soil and in the water, in the well water. And my EC on the water is 0.42, which is, I'm told, it's excellent. So, hey, fingers crossed. Join us. Join us for more garden videos, this time with Jack and Bubba. Hopefully we get Jackson on the right weekends. You know, he's gone with his father back and forth. But we'll get him here and more fish clips. I hope you enjoyed the fish clip. But hey, leave your comments below. And thanks for growing. And remember, don't you grow no ugly pumpkin.